Welcome to Exploring Every Angle, the podcast where we dive deep into the lives of creatives from all walks of life. I'm your host, Thomas Powell, a video editor immersed in the YouTube space. In each episode, I sit down with guests from the creative world to explore their journeys, unpacking their upbringings, passions, and their goals that drive them forward. Hello and welcome back to Exploring Every Angle. For today's episode, we have a really cool guest on board. His name's Hendy. Most people will know him by his channel name though, Caspersight, and he is a reaction channel and he reacts to the weird and wonderful world of the paranormal. So Ben, thank you for joining me today. Really cool to have you here.
Thank you, Tom. I appreciate it, mate. It's funny when you say reaction channel because deep inside my gut, there's a bit of a because there is a reaction side of it.
Yeah.
But then lately, obviously now covering the UFOs, aliens, it's not really a reaction, is it? So no, it's a bit of a 50-50 thing.
It's a mix of different things. And we're going to be diving into your channel a bit today of where you started, then the reaction side, and kind of more new recent stuff that you are doing as well. So I thought you'd be, a great guest to have on board because we have a lot of history. Obviously, I'm an editor and I had a good spell working for you back when you were doing Twitch streams. And we've built up quite a good relationship since, I think.
Real good editor as well, you are, mate. I remember that. That was such a nice thing. I remember you just did this off the back of, you didn't want anything in return, you know?
Yeah.
And you did an amazing video for me. And you got loads of people all involved with it. It was, man, it blew me away. Can I swear on this, by the way? Because you got me.
That's fine, yeah. That's fine.
Yeah, I was just going to say, you've got me, and I'm going to be doing the occasional F-bombs.
Yeah, no, don't worry about it. But yeah, I guess to fill a bit of context, yeah, so like Ben just mentioned, I made a video for him. So this is back in. So I guess I'll go over to right to the start when I first discovered your channel. It was 2020, the times of COVID and lockdown. And one day, me and my wife, we do a lot of YouTube watching on TV, and you popped up on the recommendations, clicked it, and yeah, we were hooked on you all throughout lockdown and just watching more and more videos. And there's something one day where you announced, I don't know if it was a stream or a video, you announced you had your PO box and you were opening it. And I turned to Emily and I said, I've really enjoyed watching this guy's content. I want to make him something. So obviously with the editor that I am, I can't really make much else really. There's some people that send you some really cool stuff that they can they can paint, they can craft things together.
Yeah, amazing stuff.
But I thought my jam's editing, so I'll think of something. And yeah, I put together, I guess it was a big compilation of your funny highlights, wasn't it? And then at the end, I went on your Discord and I just reached out to loads of people, said, hey, I'm making a video for Caspersight. If you want to be in it, it's basically going to be an appreciation video, just saying what you love about him, what do you enjoy about his content. And yeah, mashed it all together, sent it.
Mate, it was absolutely amazing because the thing is, I know we're jumping into YouTube now, but when you see usernames, comments, thumbnails, which is a lot of the time cartoony thumbnails or their dog or their cat or something like that, sometimes you just see these as names or numbers.
Yeah.
But what hit me hard was these are. And it's obvious, but these are genuine people with different, and you were getting people in their work gear and all this sort of stuff. Yeah. I was like, man, this just seems like these are actually people watching me and like what I do. And it was just absolutely amazing. It was a massive eye opener. It really was. And I think that it really did help me, it did. And so, yeah, I appreciate it, mate. It was such a nice thing you did. And for the people that, got involved.
Yeah, no worries, man. It's one of those things I still look back on fondly today, and I did it purely just to send something nice to you. Obviously, off the back of it, you got me involved with, editing for you and editing your gaming content. That wasn't something I even had in mind. So, it was amazing that followed, but I was just doing it at the time just to send you something really nice and just for you to enjoy it. But Yeah.
Yeah, man.
It's
It was
awesome
wicked.
looking back, and that's how, we started, I guess, chatting, and now kind of speaking still today. That was, I guess, 4 years ago or maybe 3 years ago. I can't remember if I did it in 2020 or if it was going into 2021.
Oh, man, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
A long time ago.
So one big element of your channel is the paranormal and horror, as we mentioned at the start.
Yeah.
Is this something that you've always been interested in from a young age?
It's something that actually was, in a weird way, forced upon me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So if I look back as a kid, I was never sort of like intrigued when I'm really young, you know, I was never sort of intrigued about the horror and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
But it was when I got to about 15 years old.
Right.
My mum was heavily into like spiritualism, and she had the crystals and the tarot cards and all this sort of stuff. And then she introduced me. Well, she didn't introduce me. She went round a friend's house and I would tag along. And her friend of hers was also into tarot card readings and meditations and things like that. And I think what it was is when you're a kid and you hear from adults, especially your mum, oh, Ben's really like intuitive and he can sense things. And apparently my mum used to take me round houses when we would shop for houses. I say shop for houses as in a place to move, not actually buying multiple houses. I'm not from a religious background, you know. But if we were ever going to move, you know, she would take me around the houses and she would say, what do you feel, Ben? What do you sense and stuff, you know?
Oh, wow.
Apparently, I don't remember that. I don't remember, but she told me once that she used to do that with me. But when you're told that at a young age, you feel sort of special, right? You feel like you've got some gift that nobody else has.
Yeah.
And I think because I was a sensitive kid, you know, I didn't want to... I didn't want to have any sort of confrontation as a kid and things like that. You know, if somebody shouted at me, apparently when I was really young, if anybody did a mean face, I would cry. And, you know, I was quite a bit of a softie, you know? Yeah. And so I think the first time I started getting into it is when my mum and her friend and her friend, the other friend and all that sort of stuff did a meditation together. And I did a meditation. And what happened was you would sit there, do a few breaths and light some candles and things like that, and then somebody would sort of walk you into some sort of, it's almost like an introduction into a dream. You know, they would say, okay, you're in a garden, you've got bare feet, you can feel the grass between your toes, and at the end of the garden is a door, and you go through the door, and then that's you, and then you go off on this like journey.
Right. So
I remember doing this, and after you have your journey, you come back and you tell each other about what you saw and what you did. And it came that every time I did it, I was always flying, and I was always flying quite high, and I was always fighting some sort of negativity.
Okay.
Right? But I was fighting almost like that was my job, right? That was my job in my meditations, that I would fight these things off with white light. Like literally a white light could come out from me. It sounds so crazy.
Yeah, no, this is interesting.
Yeah. So I don't know, maybe I'm flying high and then this like dark shadow thing comes out of a wall or whatever, and I would shine a light and it would die, and then I would keep on going up, and I would see like, you know, different colors and stuff. And then obviously when you talk about that to somebody that you look up to and their friends, which are apparently really good tarot card readers and things like that, and know a lot about spirituality, they're like, oh my God, Ben, that means that you're this and you've got this ability and stuff. And it made me feel good, you know? And then I delved into tarot card reading, and I started doing tarot cards. And again, I was told that I did doing really well. And it got to a stage, fast forwarding, like, you know, a couple of years, going into like the towns and stuff. I remember this one time I went outside a pub and I started speaking to this girl. I started telling her about tarot cards, and she's like, oh, read my cards. I've got to read my cards. And I didn't obviously have any cards on me. So I said, look, like I could do some sort of like blind reading. And I started talking to her, and I was telling her about her friends, what's happened, a so-called friend that she needs to watch her back with and stuff like that. And she was like amazed. She couldn't believe it. But sounds terrible. But I ended up like sort of hooking up with her a little bit, you know, not as in boyfriend and girlfriend, just sort of necked off of her one night or whatever, which means kissing to some people don't understand what necked off means. And I think from there, I thought to myself, first of all, that's not good. I've used that for my own gain. And also, how can I do that without cards? Am I just good at telling somebody that what they want to hear? Am I good at just reading people? And that's when I started to like just come away from it all. I remember that one of the biggest times when I really started to scare me a little bit was when in fact there was 2 episodes. I went into the lounge, and this was probably when I was about, again, 15. I went into the lounge and I didn't see, but I imagined that there were these dark entities around the couch. And I was like freaking out a bit. I was like, Mum, I can sense some dark entities around. And my mum was coming in and she's like, oh, you know, go away. And it sounds so ridiculous, right?
Yeah.
And I thought, this isn't good. And then I had an episode of sleep paralysis.
Oh man.
And that scared the fucking shit out of me, mate. And to this day, I don't even sleep on my back anymore. Right?
Yeah.
Because I had it twice. Once was really bad, not as bad as a lot of people, but the first time was really bad. The second time was like half the time, and it was half of the feeling, right?
Right.
I mean, I can go into that, what happened if you like, but for people who
sure.
don't know, it's sleep paralysis. I woke up feeling super heavy on my back, pushed against the bed, couldn't move, couldn't shout. I didn't see anything. A lot of people see like the hag, Hat Man, you know, other sort of weird things. I didn't see anything, thank God. And then I heard wind chimes, and I sort of came out of it, and I ran straight into my mum's room, and she was like, oh, I'm going to go and take you to a medium. And this medium was like, oh, he's getting to an age now where spirits want to try to connect to him and things like that. They're sort of using him. I was like, fuck, man, this is getting heavy.
Yeah, it's quite a lot.
Heavier. I don't want this, right? But what I will say, in my mum's defense, my mum has always been there for me through thick and thin. I love her entirely, and although I sort of disagree with the things that she did there, nobody's perfect. She didn't force me to do anything. I think that if she knew if it was affecting me, she would have said just like don't do it.
Yeah.
But I remember, I think the biggest thing was when I went to the doctors, because the second time I got sleep paralysis, no, it wasn't actually. I went to the doctors with something totally different, like a few years later. And out of curiosity, I asked him, I said, this happened to me. I fell asleep, blah, blah, blah. I couldn't move. And he says, oh yeah, sleep paralysis, that can be common, you know?
Yeah.
I said, sleep paralysis? He's like, yeah, it's basically when your mind wakes up before your body.
Yeah, so you're technically still dreaming, aren't you? But you can't, like, your eyes open, but you're still dreaming, so you can't move.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah,
kind of.
I think basically your physical and your mental has got to click together and wake up, right? But they don't.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, right. So it's nothing about spirituality then or anything like that. And so that's when I became a bit of a skeptic, you know?
Right. Mm-hmm.
In fact, quite a bit of a skeptic.
Yeah.
So, that's that.
It kind of makes sense because, like, I mean, just first and foremost, that's quite a lot for, you know, such a young lad to go through. So, you know.
Yeah, I don't think it didn't sort of scar me or anything like that. I just.
Yeah.
There was a couple of times, like I say, the sleep paralysis and the feeling that something was there in the lounge. That to me was just like, hang on a minute, you know, I don't think this is right.
Yeah,
you know,
for sure. So that was kind of like just where your initial interest kind of started then, from all things kind of spooky.
Yeah, because I used to do a lot of art, like painting, pencil drawings, and I used to draw a lot of good versus evil. You know, a lot of just sort of weird drawings, messed up drawings, you know? like God pulling, like, I remember this one picture I did. It sounds so messed up. There's this like guy just like flying in the air, and then the devil's like reaching for its heart, and then the God is like beaming a light towards the devil. And I'm drawing this stuff as a 15, 16-year-old. Like, but nah, I can tap on it.
Yeah, but I think also that's your like creative mind seeping through as well. And I think it's your creative mind blending in with that interest of horror. And that's kind of what's coming out, you know, and you are a very creative person, and, you know, I can just by how you talk and the things you like to do. When you are creative at heart, you end up being creative in loads of different little areas.
Yeah, I've got a wild imagination.
Yeah,
for sure. But like, I don't think my interest in horror hasn't come from, you know, the spirituality or the tarot cards or the meditations. It's not come from that.
Okay.
No.
So what started your fascination with horror then? Was there a specific experience or movie or story that got you hooked?
This is a little bit of a, like, I like horror, but I'm not fascinated. I think this is a bit of a misconception about me, right? Like, I'm a horror lover. I would say that I love horror films.
Yes.
Absolutely love horror films, you know? And they, funny enough, there's a few films that do freak me out, to be fair. But overall, I could watch horrors all day, every day. I don't react in the same way as I react to the videos you see me reacting to. And people be like, "Oh, you're fake then. You're fake." No, it's not. It's not about that, because I know that a movie's a movie. I know I can see blood and guts all day long. It doesn't faze me. The ones that mess me up are the ones which, like The Exorcist. I remember the first time I saw the Exorcist movie, I avoided it for many years, knowing how it was supposed to be quite scary. And when I was younger, I didn't just switch off from the spiritualism and switch off from that connection I had, right? It was something that just slowly fizzled away. But I remember, anything which was like, when I saw Exorcist, because it was on the religious side of things.
Right, yeah.
Yeah. And it was based off of true, I don't know the backstory of it, but it's based off of, obviously, you know, true stories, real stories of people being possessed and things like that. And it was just too real for me. It was like, no, I don't like this at all. And I took it back to Blockbusters, mate. I said, "You can have this shit. I want a refund." Yeah,
no,
he looked at
The
me,
Exorcist. It's one of those movies that at the time was huge, wasn't it? And I remember hearing stories of how it like scared audiences. People thought it was like a cursed movie. Yeah. You know, and even for the time when marketing wasn't really that big of a thing, it felt like it did have quite some kind of marketing, because I guess so many people were talking about it. Like when you look back at like report, because obviously I wasn't around back like when that came out, but when you read back on reports and, you know, when the movie was first released, it definitely had a lot of attention to it. And huge. That's why they say it's one of the scariest, like back then when it first came out.
Yeah, but I think and then obviously as I got older, I think, well, obviously The Ring and The Grudge, those ones and I think more so The Ring, because I remember on The Ring, there's a bonus feature on the DVD where you could actually watch the video. Yeah. Did I watch the video? Did I watch the video?
Yeah,
I ain't watching that with the ladder spinning round in the chair like, ah. Oh, mate, no, that freaked me out. But I think the biggest horror that is stuck in my mind, which I absolutely love, is Freddy Krueger.
Okay, yeah.
That's one of the first ones that I actually sat down to watch, understood the film, and got totally freaked out by it, as well as like, I mean, it's such a good film. I'm talking about the one where he's doing the puppet.
I'm not 100% sure if I've seen them all, but I've definitely seen a few of them. I know I've seen the one where it was him and Jason fighting as well. Freddy versus Jason.
That's quite a modern one. Yeah, that didn't scare me, but
some of the old ones.
Oh, the older ones, mate, were so messed up. Like, you know, he would cut somebody on the wrist and legs, and then he would rip that skin up, and that would be the strings for the puppet. And
right, okay.
I remember the nurse with the tongue, and she had her boobs out, and oh man, it's an amazing film. The reason why I like horrors films so much is because, I mean, first of all, I love movies, yeah. But horrors, they give me a physical reaction, a physical feeling towards what you're actually doing. And I know that most films give you some sort of either happiness or sadness or tense or something like that. But horrors, I think, is an extreme. It's almost like it's a process that you go through whilst watching a horror film. You know,
yeah, it's like a bit of an adrenaline.
Yeah, it's a physical thing, and apparently it's good for you to watch horrors. So, that's got nothing to do. It sounds though, when I've just been talking about it, that I have got a massive,
I get what you mean,
but it was just movies. Yeah,
sure.
it was just movies, and it just so happened that going into YouTube, the whole thing was actually nothing to do with horror. There's no intention of going into horror at all. It was actually because virtual reality came out.
God, yeah. That's also why the name was Caspersight, because of VR sight.
Yeah, as well as seeing ghosts. I can see ghosts because of my history as when I was younger.
Yeah.
Casper, also because Casper is a ghost. But also because I had a love for skateboarding, which is Casper is a skateboarding move, which I did. Yeah.
Oh, nice.
The Casper slide, which Rodney Mullen made up. So I used to do that a lot around town. The Casper slide and Casper like 360s and stuff. So both words, Casper, sight, had two different meanings.
Right, okay. That's interesting. Yeah, so I knew part of that already, but I didn't know the skateboarding side of it, I don't think. But just to go back a little bit, so before you dived into YouTube, you worked quite a lot of jobs, and you were in that routine of, employment, Monday to Friday, 9 to 5. What was the transition like from going from full-time employment to then full-time creator?
Man, it was fucking amazing.
Yeah, I can imagine.
I can't tell you, Tom, honestly, man, the feeling, because of the amount of work that I put in order to do that. I worked so hard to get out of the rat race. And I even felt it last week when I woke up, how happy I was that I didn't want to get up and go to clock in on a 9 to 5.
Yeah.
I've said before, a lot of people like that. They like that, stability. They like knowing where they are and stuff. But for me, I loathed it. It wasn't just about needing to be somewhere at that time, for that period of time, for X amount of years until you're old enough to retire. And then you got a few more years. Like, it wasn't just about that. It was the bigger picture. Is this life?
Yeah.
I'm here in this world once. And am I okay with that? I was in quite a high position. I was a branch manager, which you would think, in fact, it was probably a better wage than most people. Let's be honest, right? And I know a lot of people live to their means, and when you get a pay rise, you get the better car, or you get more food, or you get the Netflix, and this happens. But I remember working so hard, and we'll probably touch on it, but like at the time I had 5 jobs. And I remember walking past like the pub and seeing people that I knew, because this town's small, I knew either didn't have a job or worked part-time, and they were just drinking, and I'm like, I feel guilty about having a pint.
Yeah.
because I shouldn't do it. I can't afford it, you know? Working my ass off, hoping that I can get a bonus at the end of the year to pay off my credit cards. It's like, this is no life, man.
Yeah.
You know? And seeing people going on holidays and enjoying themselves and having experiences, having the freedom, it was enough for me. So I did everything I could to try to get out of that, you know?
Yeah, no, and I think that's one of the things as well I can relate massively with you. It's just that kind of mentality. And I think with, like you said, you touched on, a lot of people, they like full-time work, they like being in the routine, but there's a lot of other people like ourselves that I think it's more kind of when you have that creativity as well, for like, you want to be doing something yourself. You want to be, like you said, like there's something out there, probably, more to life that you want to achieve. You want to go out and, do that.
Yeah,
and
it is.
It's like,
and why should a job restrict you of living life?
Yeah, no, exactly.
And I think that sometimes, like, I don't regret any of my past, right?
Sure.
Because my past has molded me to who I am now. Experiences, knowledge, and things like that, right? Don't get me wrong. There are times in my in work life, the 9 to 5, where I've enjoyed it. I've enjoyed the colleagues around, the parties we used to have, and making friends. Absolutely, do you know what I mean? All that sort of stuff. But I think it got to a stage where I hated it so much. That's when I decided to try other things, right?
Right, okay.
So obviously I had my main job, which is the branch manager, at a big sort of, a big well-known UK tools shop. I'll just say Screwfix. It is Screwfix. Before then, I've always had managerial. I've always had sort of team leading job roles, supervisor, things like that. But that's when I was like, okay, let me try Amazon. Let me try selling on Amazon, because I was watching these YouTube videos that people are doing really well and they're doing this. And I was like, okay, well, I put all of my extra spare money I had into buying things from Alibaba for cheap, reselling them on Amazon. And it was actually doing all right. It gave me that motivation, Okay. So then I thought with that, I could also sell on eBay. So I was doing eBay as well. And then obviously I did YouTube as well, because I thought I would love to do YouTube. And that's probably a whole new conversation. But and then also Twitch. And it was a strain, man, as well as going to a job that throughout the history of working there was actually okay. It was good. It's a good company. But there was personal things going on the last few years of Screwfix, where I was just not in a good place. And obviously, quite clearly, my mindset was to get out. I fucking hated it. And because I hated it so much, of clocking in, going to a place I didn't want to go to, that drove me. Yeah,
built up that determination.
Oh, yeah. And thankfully, obviously, YouTube popped off and I was like, motherfucker, I'm gone.
Yeah, no, definitely. So, with YouTube, what was your process behind that then? Because you started out with the gaming stuff, didn't you?
Yeah.
It was horror gaming. So that you did a lot of that.
No, but again, it wasn't horror gaming.
Was it not horror gaming?
Well, yes and no. It was.
Right.
It was. It wasn't my intention to be just horror.
Okay, yeah, got you.
Right? In fact, I think my first video was a horror, right?
Right.
But it wasn't my intention. All I wanted, because I've always been a huge gamer and I love tech, like computer tech. When virtual reality came out or was coming out, I was like, oh my God, this is going to be absolutely amazing. Virtual reality, something I've been dreaming of as a kid.
Yeah.
And then I just thought, I've always wanted to be like an actor. I've always wanted to be on television.
Yeah.
As a kid, I could do YouTube, and I could do something that I just love doing anyway, playing computer games.
Playing games.
So I thought, I'm going to buy this Oculus. I'm going to save up and buy this Oculus Rift, and I'm going to start a YouTube channel, and that's what I did. But my intention was to do. other, like all types of games. But my reactions to horror, people loved so much. You have to feed what your audience wants, right?
Yeah, no, for sure. So obviously I know a little bit about this story already, but yeah, it might be good just to go over that process. So you were doing the gaming videos for quite a while, weren't you? And it wasn't really going anywhere, and there was a moment in time then where you thought, right, I really need to switch this up. Do you want to maybe talk a little bit about that process?
Yeah, that was a really tough decision to make, you know,
for sure.
Because it was a good rush, and because obviously when you start up a new channel, any view is amazing.
Yeah.
Oh my God, this has got 100 views.
Yeah, no,
That's
definitely.
fucking crazy. Oh my God, this has got 1,000. And you go into your analytics, you see the little lines going up. You're like, whoa, this is so cool, you know? And so obviously then with the horror, and it like doubles the views of like a normal game or something like that. And you're like, okay, let's carry on. And at the time it was great and I was liking it, and it was all new to me. I didn't know about, I was uploading twice a day sometimes, which I know now is like what not to do. You know, less is more sometimes. And so much learning. And I got to 15,000 subscribers. And I was putting so much work, money into buying the games, work into editing them, all of that. And it was like, and it just plateaued. And there were so many times when I felt like quitting. And I would be here now. I will say this, but I wouldn't be here now, like doing the YouTube, if it wasn't for my missus. Because my missus is like, no, you've got something, carry on. And to stick by me. I mean, you know, we went from some like tough times when I'm doing 5 jobs. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's tough. Sure. But she supported me, and I thought, do you know what, babe? I've got to switch this up. And I felt bad for the 15,000 people that I was like, what are they going to say? What are they going to do? It's not unfair. They've subscribed to me for my gaming. But I thought, well, who am I actually doing this for? I'm doing this to have a better life. I'm doing this because I want to enjoy it. And I've got to be honest with you, mate, and I joke about this now, but the reactions that you see me with the horror, like, what's that dungeon one that I did, all going through the hallways? Oh,
the gaming, you mean?
Yeah.
Dread Halls, was it?
Dread Halls, man. Yeah, Dread Halls, Araya. Like, dude, the anxiety and the preparation that I had to do mentally and physically to do those games, because this is all new to anybody's vision and mind, right?
Yeah.
It was absolutely horrifying. And so those screams and those me like curling up into a ball in the corner of my room are absolutely real. It was horrible. And there was a big part of me that really wanted to get away from the horror, because it was I used to come away sweating because I was shitting it so much, you know? So I just thought, I can't keep on doing this. The money, the time, the effort for nothing. Monetary value, it was just nothing, you know? It was like, let's change it up. So I thought, if people like my reactions to horror games, well, let's look into like horror, paranormal, real paranormal, because obviously I've got a background in it. It interests me, you know? Let's just try it. And so I did, and it went really well.
It shot off, yeah.
Yeah.
No, yeah, definitely, for sure. And that was around the time of 2020, wasn't it? So I think you hit the wave as well perfectly, because so many people were stuck at home watching content. And like myself, that's how I found you. And
well, I wasn't. I still had to go to work througdo all of the COVID.
Really?
Yeah, every single day, mate. I was the branch manager. We kept open for people that were like, what do they call it?
Oh, the priority people that
the key workers.
The key workers.
Yeah. We Screwfix was a sort of a key worker, because we had to help out the electricians, the plumbers, if people's houses went down, heating and stuff like that. That was their loophole, I think. But so I had to turn up every day, you know. So my life just didn't change, apart from I had to wear a mask.
Yeah,
you know,
no, that's crazy. Yeah, no, it feels so long ago now to think about, though. It's insane and just chaotic year that was in general. But like as I said, the YouTube channel, it blossomed. And the reaction videos started, you know, building up more and more. You're getting a viewership come through, and now to this day, you've developed a loyal audience that is there supporting you. You know, you're on the path to 1 million subscribers now. I can't remember how many you had when I first discovered the channel. It's probably around about, I don't even know if it was 100K.
I think it was under 100, wasn't it?
It must have been. I think
maybe
so.
80, something like that.
I feel like I can remember you hitting 100,000, so it must have been below. But yeah, how has it been for you in your journey, though, just having such a solid fan base? Because obviously, as we touched on at the very start of this video, when I obviously discovered you, I put together that video for you as a gift. And you get a lot of mail come through for your PO box. You get people, you know, making things for you. Even over the years when you were doing Twitch streams, you know, people subbing, memberships on YouTube, but not just that, just the supportive comments on a whole as well. Sometimes, you know, you get such, you know, supportive comments coming through, people joining the Discord. How has that been for you? And like, how has it helped build yourself and the channel overall?
That's a good question, man. I think that I didn't realize how much it would actually make me happy and how much of a part of YouTube it was. I thought, just upload videos. Yeah, you get comments, but you upload videos and you get the views and everything's all hunky-dory. And what I've noticed is I remember seeing regular faces when the channel was smaller, right? And it was like, I always remember saying, I got a promise to reply to everybody, you know, And I remember when it got too much, and that was a bit of a whoa, shit, this is absolutely crazy now. I can't reply to everybody. And I felt bad about not replying. These people have gone out their way to say, like your video, and I'm not saying thanks. Like, it's a bit of a guilt trip going on, you know?
For sure.
But what surprises me, the biggest times that surprise me is when I have a little short break, I always go into a little bit of panic mode because I feel like people fall out of their regular pattern, you know? Right. Oh, it's Monday, Ben's going to upload, or it's whatever. You know, when you go into a routine, it surprises me because when I come back, although I've not really had many breaks, people are still there and the views are still there. And it's like, it's overwhelming and crazy when I mean, I've got a whole pile of mail here again that people have sent me. People
insane
actually make things with their hands, go out their way to build it, to paint it, to write handwritten letters, to send it to me. I just can't get over it sometimes. It's and I do find myself sometimes taking it a little bit for granted, you know, and I have to give myself a bit of a fucking slap because it's easy to get used to, right?
Yeah.
And I think the biggest thing is when I see people in the street, and I always sort of know because they look at you, they go like that, and they're like, "Oh fuck," you know. And that is so nice. And do you know what, mate? It gives me that little bit of, like I said to you earlier, when I was a kid, I always wanted to be an actor. You know, it gives me that little bit of fame that I've always craved as a kid. I always craved a little bit of fame, you know. And I feel like that, and it feels so magical, and it feels so nice that I'm sure a lot of YouTubers say this. They say, "Oh, I've got the best community in the whole world," but I genuinely do believe that I've got the best community in the world. Because honestly, there is some negativity on the comments sometimes. It doesn't bother me. You know, sometimes there is comments that you go, that really, and I want to reply. And what I do is I reply to them and then I delete it. So I feel like I've replied. It gets it off my back, and then I delete it. You know, and I tend to reply to the ones which are so ridiculous.
Right.
You know, it's like, no, you cannot. I'm not going to let you get away with that ridiculous comment. You know, because it's so far from the truth. But no, it's amazing. And obviously when I've gone to a couple of awards and I've done sort of, you know, had a queue of people signing, like waiting for me to sign stuff. And it's mind boggling, man. Yeah. And it feels like I'm, you know, blowing my own trumpet, but I have to
No,
think
not at
about
all.
it sometimes. It's crazy, and I love it. I absolutely love it.
I think why you built up such a fantastic fan base is just purely down to you and the person you are. It comes across very like, wow, in your videos, how much of a down-to-earth person you are.
Oh, cheers,
And
mate.
also, like, what's apparent in all your videos is you want to bring joy and make people smile. And I've heard you say before, if you can make people's day, that's a really good feeling for you. And
Yeah. Dude, that's all I've ever tried to do as a kid. Break times, morning break and lunchtime. That wasn't lunchtime for me. That wasn't break. That was me on stage, because we would all huddle around the same bench. And that was just me making jokes, trying to make people laugh. And most of the time, a lot of the time, whatever, I annoyed the shit out of people. I was too much. I was too hyper. I was a Jim Carrey wannabe, I was a Lee Evans, a Lee Evans wannabe. I was anything. I used to watch Lee Evans and Jim Carrey so much, all the comedies, man. But I didn't care. As long as I got some people to smile or laugh, and when they laugh hysterically, it just makes my day, and I've had a good day at school, Yeah,
no, for sure. Yeah, your humor to Jim Carrey is so similar. It's crazy. That is kind of definitely a character you do embody, but it's awesome, and it's better than, I'd much rather someone be going around making people laugh, acting a bit goofy, than spreading negativity, for example.
Yeah, man, or being boring.
yeah. So I know it's not going to be everyone's cup of tea, but it's not doing any harm either, and apparently, obviously, as it's with your viewer count and your subscribers, and loads of people like it and enjoy it. So
yeah, mate. Yeah, it's like
you're
I
doing
think
something right.
I'm like Marmite. You either love me or fucking hate me. But it's okay. I don't mind being hated. Honestly, I don't mind hate. I don't mind you are the most immature little. Like, I've heard it all before. It's fine.
Right. Yeah.
It's no worries. I'm living a good life. It's all good.
For sure. So with content creation in general, obviously, as we said, you're doing that for a full-time thing now. You're also a dad of two. So how do you balance your current workload and, creating content with family time, and how much does having how much does that mean to you? Because I know before you have kind of chopped and changed with your schedules and stuff to try and suit that a bit more. So how has that been in general for you?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, when I was doing YouTube and Twitch as well, I jumped over to Kick for a while, but that wasn't a good thing. But, I was doing Twitch 3 evenings a week. It was great. But I felt I was sacrificing more than I was actually getting. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Aurora, obviously, she's 6 now, coming on 17.
Wow.
And my boy, who's also 16, I was missing just spending the evenings and just being there. Not necessarily doing something, but just being seen. And 3 nights, I know it's only 3 nights, but it's on top of being in an office for a part of the day as well, making videos. It was more so the evenings, because obviously when they come back from school, I'm not at that moment now getting ready to do a live stream. I can just chill, I can play with them. I can do things. We can go out and things like that, but not just kids like Nancy. Me and her can go out for meals and things, and spend more quality time with each other in the evenings. It's made a huge difference. And I haven't ruled out live streaming again. In fact, I've done it a few times recently on YouTube.
With you did Silent Hill. I did check out a few of those. Yeah, so you kind of got back into it a little bit. Was that just testing the water?
Well, no, it's because Silent Hill played a very big part from my childhood. It was it was the first horror game that really made a difference. It was like that was a physical thing for me, like what I'm going through.
Got you.
It ticked every single box: the music, the sound, the graphics, the story. It was just everything. It was an amazing game. So when that came, I was like, I gotta play this. And it's just one night a week, you know. well, it's not even one night a week, it's sometimes a fortnight. So
Mhm.
that's cool. If I do go back properly, then it would be 1 or maximum 2 nights a week. But I've got no plans, you know. I enjoy it. But then obviously going back to your question, with the YouTube, I gotta be honest with you, mate, especially with the content that I do, I have got lots of time, you know?
Okay, yeah.
I do have lots of time. A lot, like actually sitting down recording.
Yeah.
You know, the UFOs and the aliens, that takes a lot longer. A lot longer than the reaction to a top 5. It's literally, if a video of top 5 is 30 minutes, I'm recording for 40 minutes. Like, a bit of an intro, the middle, the stopping, the pausing, the acting like a clown, and then carrying on.
Sure.
But the aliens and the UFOs is a lot more structure, research, finding links, you know, comments, hashtags, and, you know, and planning. And then the editing takes a lot longer. But I can do that when the kids are in school or college, and, you know, and then by the time they get home, I'm sort of done. Sometimes I go over, but generally speaking, I've got a lot more family time now.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. And I think family time definitely is important. It's nice to have that balance there, like you have now.
Yeah.
Touching on the UFO stuff. So obviously for a while you were doing reaction content, as we mentioned, and then you started doing more UFO content, which you just, you know, touched on as well. It's not reaction. You'll do research, get you know, multiple clips and news reportings, put them into a video, discuss it. So it's more of a kind of, like an open discussion, and you're leaving your thoughts rather than just a reaction. So how has this been for you in terms of mixing up your content? Did you feel like you were at a point where you wanted to start testing some other things out?
I think it just sort of came at a perfect time. There was a part of me that thought, how long can I do a top 5 reaction, a paranormal channel reaction back to a top 5? Like, how long can I do that without not so much like burning the viewers out, but burning myself out? You know?
Yeah.
And if you look through the history of my reactions, I started off reacting to the paranormal with a genuine, I want to see if this stuff's real. I don't believe it, but there's the kid in me that still freaks out and thinking, going back to my spiritualism when I was younger and all that sort of stuff, right? So when I was seeing these brand new paranormal clips of people seeing ghosts and things moving on their own and stuff, I'm like, what the? Like, and the reaction is it's like 100% genuine. Yeah. And then over time, when I'm starting to figure out that we're seeing the same sort of stuff here now, we're seeing the same, that's going to move, that string. And then obviously, when you read comments, Ben, these people have been debunked, and Ben, this has been debunked, that's fake, and this, you start to get an understanding. And I think that where I've injected that little bit of humor into the videos, it's the community. Going back to your question about how good the community is, the community of Caspersight and the paranormal has literally created this channel for themselves, right? Because obviously I have a natural sort of, I want to make a joke about something, right? But when I read the comments and it says, that was so funny, that's so cool, I love it when you say that, I'm like, okay, people like my humor.
Yeah.
So let's add a little bit more. And then it gets even better. And so we've morphed from a genuine, I want to see if these paranormal things are real, to now almost like a comedy show.
Yeah, it is.
You know,
people are watching more to see you and what you say and what, like, your catchphrases and, you know, and how you're going to react to the video. So it's not just, they're not just watching the video you are reacting to, they're in for the full ride of what you're going to come out with in that video, really.
I hate saying comedy because, like, I can't tell a joke to save my life. You know? And then it's funny, people go, yeah, we know, Ben. But, like, I think I've like maybe my sense of humor is good, or I'm maybe quick-witted and certain things. I don't have jokes. I don't consider myself as a comedian. I just
it's more,
go with the flow. Again,
it's more the
like
style. Yeah, it's more the how you come across. Sometimes I think when you're funny as well, you're quick off the mark, like, you know, quite quick humor. It's that type of humor, but also the goofiness of it, like I said, that Jim Carrey style that you have.
My imagination's quite wild as well, you know. So it's basically, it makes me feel really good. I love doing them. And I don't think I ever want to stop. I see myself stopping doing that. Not for a long time anyway, because it does allow me to be a kid again. Yeah. It really does. Yeah, because it is a character, I suppose. You know? Yeah. I don't walk around acting like that all the time.
Yeah, obviously I agree. I've met you obviously, and you know, in person you don't walk around like going freaky deaky and you know.
The other day somebody said I off the cuff I put stubby toes. You know, the stubby toes of death. And comments were like stubby toes of death, lol, stubby toes of death, lol, lol, lol. And I'm like, okay, people like that.
Yeah, I think it's just it's people just they want to see what you come out with next, and you know, if you got a bingo card and you put all the different like things of catchphrases, or will Casper do this, or will Casper say that, it'd be quite a fun game to play.
People have done that already. They've tweeted me. They've tweeted me their bingo cards. Yeah. But I can't remember exactly what the original question was.
Oh, I was talking about mixing up content. So obviously you've gone from
UFOs. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so that sort of organically morphed into a character comedy type thing. And then I thought, okay, I don't want this to get stale. I don't want this to get dry. And I think I delved into a little bit of, I think maybe giants, or I think I started reacting to a little bit of That Is Impossible, some weird stuff like glitches and stuff like that. And I started trying to do my own sort of takes on these things. And then I remember the Las Vegas family that saw aliens in their back garden, and I covered that story, and I was like, oh, well, that was so interesting. And that was like a fire that grew in me again for what I do here, like creating. I was like, this is amazing. It was a genuine interest. Fucking aliens? Are you kidding me? Something that I've believed in all my life, you know? Mm-hmm. And then the Miami Mall started going on. And that was the whole 10 for aliens sort of things. I covered that.
Yeah, I remember that.
Getting a little bit of hate now because I refer to that a lot. Because that for me is like a turning point in the channel. And when I refer to that, I don't mean I refer to it as because that's where aliens was and that's where UFOs were, because there isn't any proof yet. But that for me was a turning point, because from then on, the channel just went whoop, and I gained a load of subscribers. So it holds a very dear place in my heart, that Miami Bayside event, you know?
Yeah, no, those videos did extremely well. I remember when you covered that story, but it was like going viral, wasn't it? And you jumped on it just at the perfect time. And
yeah, it was something different. It was still under the paranormal umbrella.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So I was like, yeah, I'm going to be all over this like a rash. And I'm glad I did.
Yeah, no, for sure. And I think it's important that, like, with what you do, like you just said, it's a paranormal umbrella. You have a lot of different things you can try out that are under that bracket. And I think it's nice to do it because it just mixes it up. And like you said, it doesn't kind of, not that it does go stale, but like you don't want it ever to get repetitive after a while. And it also, I think it's just fresh for you as well.
Like absolutely, mate. Absolutely. Like I say, there was, when I was going back and I was saying, can I do this? Can I sustain this for a long periods of time? That was me internally going, like, I enjoy it.
Yeah.
But I'm conscious now. I don't want to pump out this shit, like this shit just for the sake of this shit, you know?
Yeah.
And I'm not saying shit like I don't like this.
No.
It's just the terminology I'm trying to use is I don't want to just pump it because people expect it. I want to keep on doing it because I like doing it. And I think the ratio of what we got at the moment, where it's like 2 paranormal ghost videos and 2 UFO videos a week, and then the odd roll of the dice of whatever it is, or maybe a live stream on the 5th or whatever. It works really well for me mentally as well, and I think it's also good for the audience.
Yeah, sure. No, that's that. No, that I agree. Is there anything that you haven't done yet with the channel that you would love to do going forward?
I think that I would like to get into more interviews. I did an interview recently, and that did really, really well. And I think I would like to go to a more of a serious route when it comes to the UFOs and UAPs and alien. I feel like I feel like I have to, because and again, not to say I'm stopping doing the paranormal, because like I love doing that. There's a large audience that still want that. If I start seeing that drizzle away to nothingness, I end up stopping it. But I think because, again, I approach the UFOs as a very much of a, this is exciting, this is new, I like this, I'm interested in it. But now I have a genuine curiosity of like, what is going on? This is the start, I think, of something crazy to come. And I feel like I feel like I have some sort of duty for myself to just try to look into it a little bit more, take it more seriously, and learn. This is a whole learning process, this, for me. Yeah, so I would like to maybe do that. But also, giants is something that I've always been intrigued about. And also history of what's being covered up.
Right. Okay, like ancient Egypt and things like that.
Yeah. There's lots of things I think that are being covered up for some reason about our history. A lot of our history may be told to us for certain purposes or not quite what they were. Yeah.
Yeah. So kind of like more that kind of like conspiracy theory angle, kind of going into those.
Yeah, just having more of an open mind of certain things and just ask questions. I don't like to call myself a conspiracy theorist because although I do believe in a lot of conspiracy theories, I think the whole conspiracy theorist has just like a bad tone over it, right?
Yeah.
When somebody calls you a conspiracy theorist, what they're trying to do is they're trying to insult you, right?
Yeah.
But I think that nowadays, so many conspiracy theories have come true. You've got to give us another name.
I just see it as someone that's just looking at things as like an open book, at all the different angles. And there's so many things in life that maybe we don't question enough.
This is it. Yeah, absolutely. You've hit the nail on the head. Like, why? Like, we are trained from a very young age to memorize things that we've been told. Now, there's certain conspiracy theories out there which I just think literally are stupid, like the flat Earth theory. And I like, that's growing actually. A lot of people out there, like more and more people are believing in this. And I don't know.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah, they are. And I've seen on TikTok, I can't remember his name, but on TikTok, this guy goes live all the time. And he gets flat earthers on to quiz him. And he's got he's created this globe and he literally in quite sort of layman's terms, visually shows people how it's not possible to have a flat Earth. We are on a globe, and he shows them, and they just can't understand it, and But I've watched that. It's so obvious, And also, if you look up at the sky, the moon's a circle or a globe.
Round. Yeah, the sun's round.
The sun's round. Mars is round. And all these things are round. We're not. Like, I don't know. But I don't want to upset people because that's up to them. If they feel that way, and
of course,
that's cool, man. But like most people's opinions, you can have your own opinion, but don't force that shit on people.
Yeah, I think you got to respect people's opinions, and it's fine unless, it's causing damage or like you just said, it's being forced upon, everyone's
too many
opinions.
people nowadays are forcing their opinions onto people.
Yeah.
Right?
I think it's good to have opinions for everyone, though, 'cause it's what makes everyone different. Like, it would be such a boring world, wouldn't it, if everyone just thought the same?
Absolutely, but that's where conversations should happen. I believe in good conversations. If you disagree with something that I say and vice versa, we can have a good, educated conversation about it and go back and forth. Maybe we'll come to a conclusion. Maybe we don't. But we've exchanged and we've had that mutual respect. Whereas I think what's happening now, we're going off on a bit of a tangent, which is fine. But I think what's happening now in today's society is if you don't believe in me, you are bad and you are wrong.
Yeah.
And you should be cancelled or whatever. That shit I don't like.
Yeah, cancel culture.
Yeah, man. It's bad. So going back to the original question, which was like, changing things up on my channel and things like that, that's it came at a perfect time, and I think that maybe in the future, who knows, it might be all about mermaids, it might be all, all about giants. I'm just sort of going with the flow. But I'm concentrating on making sure that the content that I create is a genuine interest. I've got a genuine interest in the paranormal because that makes me feel good. It makes me feel young, and I feel like I can make people happy and smile. I've got a genuine interest in the aliens and the UFOs, and that's a deep dive where I could learn so much. And that might spiral onto, I don't know, the pyramids or alien tech, or another thing that I did sort of a tester video is AI. How AI robots are coming into things now.
Yeah, see, I find that very fascinating.
Yeah, like that's a whole new. So you never know. It might be one day of paranormal, one day of UFO, one day of AI robots. I might even. My missus even said, she goes, Ben, do you reckon we should buy a bloody AI robot?
One of Elon's.
Yeah, yeah.
What's he called it? Optimus,
30 grand. I was like, maybe.
Those robots, though, they remind me of, the movie I, Robot with Will Smith.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
Where they all turn.
I think they've deliberately done that for that.
But I can see.
But just imagine though, mate, like
how good. Yeah, you could tell it to do your laundry or your chores. Walk the dog.
I know, right?
Like,
and me and the missus were joking, and I asked her a question or something, and I said, "Oh, bloody hell, she didn't do something or whatever." I said, "I might have to get myself a bloody Megan Fox AI robot here in a minute." She'd be like, "You can fuck right off." Oh man,
it's insane.
But it's scary, man. The future is scary, and I think that with the technology that we've got now, I think it's very, very important because joking aside. I know we're talking about, beautiful looking AI robots, but joking aside, I think it's a very dangerous route that you could go down to. And I think that what you might find is there will be a very big divide in this technology. I'm talking way in the future. I think you're going to get a lot of people that embrace it and use it for good things. And a lot of people use it for bad things, but also as a, because I'm on a bit of a spiritual journey, right?
Yeah.
So I think it's very important to recognize and understand your internal spirit, right? And let's just say, for example, there is one day in the future you can have relationships with AI robots. I think it's very important for people to listen to the soul, listen to the heart, and it sounds a bit far-fetched, but this is a conversation which is not going to be far-fetched at some point in the future,
Yeah, with how it's advancing AI, no, definitely.
But I do think it's very important. I'm not talking necessarily like religious ways, but it's important to understand, connect, I think, with your soul, your spirit. You've got to try to remain grounded in this life, this world.
No, it's very true, because it's so easy to get wrapped up in everything else.
Yeah, man.
A lot of the time, especially with how fast the world's moving.
Yeah, definitely. It really is, yeah.
Really interesting last segment of the podcast there, diving into the world of the internet and AI and all things,
man.
But that's what I like about these podcasts, because I can ask a question and it can veer off into a totally different direction and open up like another conversation that you didn't expect. So it's always awesome to have that.
Yeah, man, this has been great. You ask great questions. It's it's nice to do this myself, really, because it's something that it's good to reflect on myself. The questions you've asked is like, oh, hang on a second, that makes me feel this, or this is I'm grateful for this.
I'm glad it's been helpful for you as well. Thank you so much for coming on board. It's been great to talk to you today and listen to you answer all the questions that I asked you.
Cheers, mate. I appreciate it. Good luck with the future, eh?
So thank you everyone that has tuned in for this episode today of Exploring Every Angle. Hope you really enjoyed it, and stay tuned again for another episode next week. So take care, and I'll see you again soon. Bye.
Take care.